Okay, good afternoon. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to make sure that we're getting the correct answer. And one of the ways to make sure that we're getting the correct answer is to look at the units and do what's called a unit analysis. Okay, so what is dimension, or not unit analysis, but dimension analysis? So what is a dimension? A dimension is another way of using the term of a measurement. So dimension, measurement can be used. So when we look at the dimension analysis, we're looking at the measurements that are used. So dimension analysis is, by definition, a systematic examination of the appropriate measuring units of a solution. So in other words, does my answer make sense in the fact that am I getting the units that I would expect to get in this problem? So if I'm solving for amount of time, am I getting the dimension of time as my solution? If I am, then that tells me, okay, at least from a dimension analysis, my answer makes sense. Okay, so this is a way to double check and make sure that what you're doing and how you're approaching the problem is correct. Okay. So for example, if I want to know how many inches are in 2 1/3 yards, well, I know I want to end up with inches, right? So when I look at my dimension analysis, I'm starting with yards, right? So I'm starting with yards, and I want to go to inches, okay? So if I start with yards, well, what would I have to multiply by to end up with inches? Well, I'd have to have something that involves inches divided by yards, because I'd have to cancel with the yards over here, because you can look at this as yards over 1. So I'd have to have something in the denominator here to cancel with the numerator here if I'm multiplying. And so if I do something like that, then I know I'm going to end up getting inches in my final answer. Okay, so now in this case here, what I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with 2 1/3 yards, right? And, well, if I put this over 1, now I need something that relates inches and yards with inches on top. Well, I know we can use 12 inches. Oop, not 12 inches. Oh, well, yeah, actually we can do this, because sometimes we'll have to use more than one conversion factor to get it. So let's use this. So we know there are 12 inches in a foot, right? Let's use this one. This is actually will work out fine. Okay. Okay, so that really doesn't help us though. But now, what do I need? I need something here that's going to cancel with feet and inches. Okay. Or excuse me, not feet and inches, feet and yards, right? So I still need something that relates yards on the bottom, and now I need feet on top, right? So I need to cancel the feet, so I need something that has feet on top that will cancel with the feet on the bottom here, and yards on the bottom that will cancel with the yards in the numerator here. Well, what is a unit ratio that relates feet and yards? Well, we know that 3 feet equals 1 yard. Okay, so we get 3 feet per yard. And now let's look at the unit analysis. So we got yards here, that cancels with yards down here. We've got feet here on the bottom, which cancels with feet over here on top. And now if we look at the units, what units do we end up with when we multiply across? We end up with inches, which is exactly what we wanted. So now all we have to do at this point is multiply across the top and the bottom. So I'm going to take 2 1/3 times 12 times 3. Now the only thing I have to do is I have to change this to an improper fraction, right? So 2 1/3 becomes 7/3. And now I can multiply because now remember, I can put these over 1 and making them fractions. Make sure you multiply all the numerators together. So you go across the top and you want to multiply across the bottom. Don't multiply numerators with denominators. Remember, that's division, right? This means division, okay? Do not ever multiply across the bar because what you're actually doing is you're doing multiplication when you are supposed to be doing division. So you only multiply across the top. So you only multiply numerators, and you only multiply across the bottom and multiply the denominators, and then your final answer will be a fraction with a product on top and a product on the bottom. So if we do that, what do we get? Oh, by the way, before we do that, notice that we can cancel things. This 3 on the bottom, it can cancel with this 3, right? Because they have a greatest common factor of 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 here is 1. And so that leaves 1 on the bottom. So if we multiply across the top, we get 7 times 12, which is 84. And we get 1 on the bottom, which is 1. So we get the total of 84 what? Well, inches. So how many inches are in 2 1/3 yards? 84. And that's it. See you next time.